Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I'm going to share with you a little bit of information. This is just something I want to highlight. I was, I think maybe 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, I was asked to be interviewed for a documentary. Two guys contacted me and said they were working on a documentary. They didn't explicitly say it was about fake news or anything of that sort, but they said they wanted to interview me about my experiences with Jade Helm. And the documentary has finally come out. It just came out this past week. It premiered on HBO, and I want to show you guys just a little bit about what I was featured in it. It's a real small part, but it's of course I think there's been some selective editing with my words, and I want to tell you guys all about that. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, which is your home for all of our content, my books, which you can download for free, all of my documentaries, podcasts. You can download conscious music, and you can support me in any number of ways and our efforts here, including by following us on Minds, following us on Steemit/DTube, on Discord, join our text list, follow on BitChute, and if you'd like to support us, get a free ounce of kratom through My Brave Botanicals. All right, guys, so this past week, this documentary, like I said, it's called After Truth, Disinformation and the Cost of Fake News. It just came out a few days ago. You can see it's been interviewed or reviewed by IndieWire, Variety, Chicago Sun-Times, the New York Times, the Daily Wire. Everybody's talking about it right now as far as the mainstream press. And what they're calling it is a look at disinformation and the fake news and the modern age, right? And so as expected, it's not, I would say, totally accurate. First of all, when I was contacted to be a part of this documentary, I was not told that Brian Stelter of CNN was the guy behind it. But apparently it's his documentary. He's at least put his name on it, executive producer, directed by Andrew Rossi. All I know is two guys showed up at my house, a little small camera crew set up, and asked me questions. We probably talked for 30 minutes to an hour. Of course, in a documentary like this, things get cut down. And I'm not like the main focus by any means. I'm just like a small bit part. And that is about like maybe 2 minutes or less. And I'm going to play you guys just those sections because I sat through the whole documentary because I wanted to be able to see not only what I am portrayed as, but also what the whole documentary is. And I think it's interesting. I'll say that. It's interesting because they do show how there are people who actually do push literal fake news. Jacob Wall, Jack, I can't remember the other guy's name. There's a couple of like right-wing trolls who like definitely made up some stuff, and they highlight that and they show that, and they also show how people on the left are like, well, okay, if the right's gonna play with fake news and use social media to scrape data about people and try to manipulate them, well, then we're gonna do it too. Of course, there's lots of propaganda. The section about me focuses on Jade Helm, and we'll talk about that in a second. They also do a big deal about Pizzagate and talking about Comet Ping Pong. And for those who are curious about my opinions, just search our website or YouTube channel. I did at least one or two reports about what I thought were the most important aspects of that whole fiasco a couple years ago, and you can find that by searching Pizzagate. And I don't think Comet Ping Pong should even really be the focus, even though there's some weird stuff there. But overall, this documentary, it reinforces the mainstream narrative that only official journalists like CNN and New York Times really have the truth, and these crazy people on the internet are amplifying fake news and spreading it, and it's harming reality. And like I said, there's some element of truth there, because there are people, and you guys have heard me harp on this lately, there are some people who have no credibility, have no standards, and they do a lot of damage by just making up whatever the hell they want. And it's not a good thing. It's bad for all of us, right? Because for those of us who actually want to get credible information, it doesn't help when you have idiots out there just straight up making things up. So again, my topic, the section on me is about Jade Helm. Back in 2015, when the Jade Helm exercise took place across the country, I was in Texas. I'm not in Texas now, but I was in Texas, and I went to Bastrop, which is just outside of Austin, Texas, and I was able to document it firsthand, get some video, get some pictures. I made the front page of a bunch of papers around the country, and some of them tried to make me look like I was crazy, but my whole goal was like, all right, this is a couple hours from my house. I'm going to go document it for myself and see if there's anything going on. I didn't think and never claim that it was going to be the initiation of martial law like a lot of people thought. And in fact, just like sometimes happens, I thought that the people who are saying this was going to be the kickoff to martial law were missing the bigger picture. And in this article that you're looking at here, this is an article I wrote July 23rd, 2015, 5 years ago, for MintPress News, Mastering the Human Domain, What's at Stake with Jade Helm. The conspiracy theories around the Jade Helm exercise turned into a national joke, obscuring the real issues with the normalization of the police state and possible psychological operations underlying the large-scale military exercise. And I will link this below for you guys to check it out and see what you think about it. But because and there's a couple of key points that I think are really important. I go into the actual reasons why would people be concerned about this right here. For example, most media coverage of Jade Helm has been geared towards assuring the American public that there is no reason to fear this or any other military exercise. Yet a closer look at the U.S. government's growing police and surveillance state show that everyday Americans are becoming the focus of various domestic extremism and terrorism task forces. Citing a, quote, escalating danger from self-radicalized individuals within our borders, former Attorney General Eric Holder said in 2014 that the Justice Department would revive a domestic terrorism task force that was established after the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing false flag. Holder stated that the Domestic Terrorism Executive Committee would work to eliminate the threat posed by violent individuals who may be motivated by anti-government or racist views. And then, of course, we have the Missouri Information Analysis Report, the MIAC report, which talked about people who could be potentially domestic terrorists if they believe in strong states' rights or had anti-abortionist views or anti-immigrationist views or were opposed to the income tax or the Federal Reserve, or even people who supported Ron Paul and could potentially be put on government watch list. So I go into this whole thing, and again, I really recommend you guys look into this because I think that I took an angle here that people weren't seeing, that this was a test run, and the people blew it up, and a lot of people, Jade Helm came and went, and so people laughed, oh, look at the crazy conspiracy theories, nothing actually happened, oh, you guys look nuts. But if you look into this, let me see if I got a good quote here. With a growing number of Americans reporting feeling dissatisfied with the U.S. government, it is worth asking whether the U.S. government views its own citizens as threats worth monitoring and studying. Consider these recent comments from General Wesley Clark discussing lone wolf terrorism. Quote, in World War II, if someone supported Nazi Germany at the expense of the U.S., we didn't say that was freedom of speech. We put them in a camp. They were prisoners of war. So if these people are radicalized and they don't support the U.S. and they are disloyal to the U.S., as a matter of principle, fine. It's their right, and it's our right and obligation to segregate them from the normal community for the duration of the conflict. As long as there's concern that the government views free speech and free thought as threats to its power, the people of Bastrop, Texas, and the rest of the country will be keeping an eye on Jade Helm and similar military exercises. So again, I think, like a lot of issues, the actual conspiracy theorists, people with little credibility and little critical thinking skills, took a real issue that should be of actual concern and people should pay attention to, and they blew it all out of proportion, started talking about Walmarts and underground tunnels and this and that, and then they got laughed at by the mainstream media. And this documentary does a good job of making people look crazy. And so I'm going to play you just the two clips. Hopefully my channel won't get a copyright strike. Not that I monetize any of this, but hopefully they don't take the video down. So we're going to play just these clips real quick.
Autism, Masonic lizard people running the world. Jade Helm, we want so hard to believe, even in conspiracies, that things actually exist, that there is an underlying deal, that we have some knowledge that other people don't, and we want to believe all that, but sometimes it's just not true.
I will be headed to Bastrop, Texas to report on the Jade Helm 15 military exercise. I don't trust the corporate media. I don't want somebody else to tell me what's going on. I want to go find out for myself. So I'll be
in my view, Jade Helm was a psychological operation to gauge the response. Will the people, be complacent when this exercise happens? Will they push back?
We're gonna go inside. See, this is what the corporate media does. They stand across the street and we go inside. Can't believe we're in here.
I believe in personal responsibility. If somebody reads an article and they go crazy because of that, because whatever issues they got going on, I don't know how I can, be held responsible for that.
There are many who made some pretty wild claims, and social media is the devil. So in my
So we're at the point now where I don't think people can distinguish fact from truth anymore, or people are starting to make their own truth. And honestly, I'm okay with that.
All right, so right there, I don't know if you could tell just by the way that was edited, but I don't think, unfortunately, I didn't record my comments myself, so I don't have the proof, but I don't believe that was the phrase I said right there. So let's listen to that again real quick.
So we're at the point now where I don't think people can distinguish fact from truth anymore, or people are starting to make their own truth.
So I said we're at the point now where people are making their own truth, and I definitely talked to them about this, and I said, like, look, I think it's a problem that there's actual fake news. And I went on, and I tried to show them my article about Jade Helm and say that, look, there's some legitimate concerns here, though. But if you listen, the audio cuts so quickly, and then they edited in probably another sentence I said, where I said, and I'm okay with that. I guarantee you I didn't say I'm okay with people just making up their own truth. But that's what they wanted to make it sound like, that I'm just, I'm irresponsible, let people think whatever they want. I don't have any credibility or standards, and yada, yada, whatever. So just listen to that again.
Make their own truth, and honestly, I'm okay with that.
So
we're at the point now where I don't think people can distinguish fact from truth anymore, or people are starting to make their own truth, and honestly, I'm okay with that.
No, I'm not okay with that. And you guys have heard me harping on this and going off on this lately. I think it's a big problem. But that's what they want you to think in this documentary, that people like myself, of course, if you notice the beginning of the clip, they start off with these people saying, people think of Masonic lizardmen and vaccines cause autism, and, which you might want to look into that. But they like to pick the craziest claims they can, or get somebody saying something like that, like, they think that 9/11 never happened, and just try to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as it was. But anyways, guys, this isn't the biggest story of the day or anything like that. But I've had people messaging me saying, hey, I saw you on HBO. I saw the documentary. If you want to go out and watch it, you can. I did record the documentary myself, but I actually just deleted it because I'm like, you know what? I don't even need to save the space on my computer with this. But if you decide to watch it, you can go ahead and sign up for an Amazon Prime or HBO trial for free. Watch it, and then immediately cancel your trial so you don't have to give any more money to Amazon or any money to HBO. You can go read these reviews. I will say it's really weird. At the end, the last at least 2-3 minutes are basically a big love fest of James Alefantis and Comet Ping Pong. Pretty weird. But yeah, they didn't do a good job of a lot of the issues they covered. They talk about Pizzagate. They talk about Jade Helm. They talk about Seth Rich. And then they show actual right-wing provocateurs who do fake news. And they kind of lump us all in together. But in case any of your friends see this documentary and they see me in there, it might hurt my credibility in the eyes of some people who see this and come across my work and like, oh, that's that guy from that fake news documentary. But if you want to know my real thoughts on Jade Helm, as far as that's concerned, for one, you can go to the Conscious Resistance. You can search Jade Helm. Let's see what we got right here. Search Jade Helm and see the work that we did back then. Let me see if the video pops up. And then, of course, you can see the article I just mentioned. So yeah, reporting live from Jade Helm. Of course, the one thing that they didn't mention, when they kind of skimmed over this of why these crazy conspiracy theorists, is that the exercise was simulating that there was like a domestic terror attack and that Texas was being deemed hostile territory. So they said, you see in this little thing, this is an insurgent pocket. This area of Texas is seen as the state of Texas and the state of Utah are seen as hostile territories. I mean, come on, like they left all of that out. And the media, they announced that the media would not have any access to Jade Helm exercise. So that's why I decided, all right, I'm going to go there for myself. But if you want to learn more about that, you can find that on our website. You can find this article in the description below the video. And I appreciate that, guys. Also, just side note, I haven't been pushing this, but if anybody wants to support us, we do have a crowdfunding campaign going on right now. That is also in the description below the video if you want to help support our efforts during all these crazy times. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.